Share us on your social media, folks. Share us on Facebook, share us on Twitter, share us on YouTube, guys. Well, you know. You can't share on YouTube, can you? Be right there with you. All right, people, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black and Night Show. Glad you could be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do me a favor now and start sharing this on your social media networks. We're trying to reach as many people as possible. We got a great show lined up tonight. You don't want people to miss out on this information. All right? Let me move this mic a little bit. Let's go, first of all, make sure everybody can hear. Thing all right? Hey, Johnson, is everything okay? Yeah, we're getting started early on the Johnsons. Let me go first and check with my people on Facebook. I try to switch it up. Hey, Facebook, how y'all doing? Jen, how you doing? Jen and Dolores and Karen and Evan and Bob and Andy and Bibby and Linda. Hey, Bibby, I missed you too. Sweetheart. Nah, baby, I appreciate you. I've been working late and up all night running videos. If it wasn't for coffee, and I'm telling you, I need a nap. Can you guys hear me, Sarah and George? Hey, party people. Hey, Brian, how you doing, man? Hey, Chris, what's up, sis? Karen's in the house. Rebecca, can you hear me, Rebecca? I'm scared out of my mind about Clinton. Uh-oh. Somebody said they're scared out of their mind about Clinton. Drop it, Tim. All right, sounds good. All right, Robert. Thank you, Robert, for being here. Steve and Jen and Dale and Kat and Billy and Marcy and Trisha. Hey, Trisha. Another Robert and another, Marcy and a Sarah. Hey, Sarah, what's up? And Ginger's in the house. I see a Ginger sighting. What's up, Ginger? All right, Ty. Good to have you, Ty. What's up? And Sarah and Michael. All right. Look good. We got people on Facebook. Share this, Facebook people, please. And we got something to talk about tonight. It's going to really. It's important that this information get out there. It's good for your mental health that you get this information tonight. So now let me go ahead to my people on YouTube and see if YouTube's running okay. Okay, we're doing okay on YouTube. What's up, Daryl? What's up, R. Stark? Lee Cox? David? I'm doing good, Lee. How you doing? KQing? Wolf Clan. I like the wolf in the name, though. Anna, what's up, Anna and John and Sean and Brian and Robert? Princess, what's up, Princess Queen? And Holly and Matthew and Danielle and Joe. All right, guys. Now I'm gonna ask you as well, YouTube. Share this on your social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter, whatever you rock with. Let people know that we're getting down, because tonight we got information that's really important for people to get. They have to understand, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. We gotta uncover all this tonight, okay? And make sure people are informed. Now, also, let me let you know now, Super Chat is open, so if you want to support the show, that'd be great. Support the show, become a part of the show. You can also go to patreon.com, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack, and you can also do that on YouTube. So I just want to remind you of that as we get going. People say, Tim, you don't promote anything. I'm busy trying to get the news out. I forget. All right, guys. You know, we heard a lot of talk about Trump in the media. And during 2016 election, people were saying how Trump was going after the media and how horrible Trump was going after the media. And, yeah, Trump came up with the term fake news. Actually, he didn't invent the term. He just, when you got the loudest bully pulpit in the country, well, I guess when you say things like those commercials, E.F. Hutton, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. Right now, everybody under 35 is like, what you talking about, Tim? It was a investment company that was supposed to help you make investments back when Wall Street was ripping people off, even almost to the extent that they are now. Insider trading or what have you, they would act like they had special information. And if you listen to them, you'd make money, but really, they were just ripping you off. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. What should I buy? What should I sell? So back to the story, guys. So we all know. So Donald Trump, fake news, wrong. I'm here. I want to be the president. I wish I didn't become president because now I have to work for a living. Working for a living's hard. I'd rather not. I'd rather golf. I'd rather spend time with my wife and not work. Working's for losers. And I guess I'm a loser. I'm the world's biggest loser. But I beat Hillary. So there is an upside. So, is the news real or is it fake? Did Donald Trump have his finger on the pulse of anything? Or was he just doing what he usually does? Talk. Talk to himself, talk, but also talk to help himself in his campaign and to sell his brand. Well, a little bit of both, guys. You see, you can be right for the wrong reasons and you can be wrong for the right reasons. Donald Trump was both at the same time. Let me explain. There's a lot of misconceptions going on in our media right now. Well, actually going on in the minds of people who actually read or consume media. When I talk about media, I'm talking about corporate media. I'm talking about the newspapers of note like the New York Times, the various Washington Post, LA Times, big newspapers that have been around for some hundreds of years. Then we also have websites that people know all about very well, such as the CNN and the MSNBC and the Fox News and Politico and Slate. The list goes on, Huffington Post. One of the things that I've been noticing over the course of this election cycle is just how much there are fake news. And it's not always just a blatant lie. In fact, rarely is it a blatant lie. What it is omission. You know, when you leave things out that you should have kept in, that sort of tell a story, that make things totally different once you include that information. Just to prove my point, check out this from a couple of folks on the Bernie Sanders campaign. David Sirota put this out. He said, for weeks, Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg have been parroting GOP talking points against Medicare for All, while raking in donations from health industry donors. Now President Barack Obama's Medicare chief debunks the talking points. So what David is alluding to there is something that you should have heard about in your regular news consumption. You know, if we had more journalists on the job, we'd know about this, wouldn't we? We would know if we had real journalists on the job or journalists that were willing to tell the truth, we know that, well, it's kind of strange that now that Pete's talking this new language about Medicare for All, he's also taking in more money from the insurance companies. He's got an uptick in donations that coincide with the industries that he's talking favorably of. That would be a little bit of journalistic work you would think that journalists would do. But they're not doing it. Now, they're not actually lying. They're just not reporting it. Hence, omission, a lie by omission. But it doesn't stop there. We have more pointed examples of lies by omission. Here goes one of my favorite. This is a tweet by Brianna on the Bernie Sanders campaign. She says, alternative headline. Now, let's start from the bottom and work our way up because it's going to show the travesty of these media entities before we, better if we go by what they printed and what they should have printed. Look at this. Look at the masthead of this article. Poll. Trump holds slim lead over Warren and Biden in Iowa. Matchups. Now, if all you saw was this article, you don't know if anything else exists. That's all you're thinking about is the way it's written. Trump is holding a slim lead over Warren and Biden in Iowa. Oh, man, Warren and Biden better pick it up. They totally leave out, Johnson, that Bernie Sanders beats them both in Iowa, and he beats Trump. Kind of an important point to make, isn't it? Yeah, you wrote an article about Warren and Biden losing to Trump in Iowa, and you kind of left out that Bernie's beating Trump in Iowa. But the person reading the article would have no way of knowing that because, well, they're not a statistician, nor do they run a polling firm, nor are they privy to all the information, nor do they have the time to be off 3 hours sleep like your man Tim Black, trying to weed through all this crap. They got jobs, Johnson. So what I'm trying to tell you folks is they are lying to us daily. Not just in, hey, what time is it? 8 o'clock. Are you sure? Yes. Oh, man, it's midnight. Why did you lie? Not those type of lies. Those lies are easy to find out. It's more like the lies where they just leave out the truth, if it makes sense. Well, it's going to make sense. It needs to make sense if you're going to make sense of any of this political season that we're facing right now. Which brings me to a point, the next round. I want you to ride with me on this because this is what's going on. This was the talk of Twitter today. There was a poll conducted by The Hill. In that poll, there was information collected. Here goes the article. Data collected for this article. Excuse me, Bree. Here's the poll. Poll, Biden and Warren both beat Trump and Pence in Florida. Okay. Biden and Warren beat Trump and Pence in Florida. That's great. Guess we better hurry up and get those guys in there because we definitely want to defeat Trump in Florida. I mean, if your goal is to reclaim the presidency, you might want to win Florida, right? Yeah, it makes sense. This poll conducted by the University of Northern Florida Public Opinion Research Lab is where The Hill got their information from. Former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Elizabeth Warren, two of the leading candidates in the presidential primary for the Democratic Party, both carry the states of Florida against Trump. Or Vice President Pence in the general election, according to a new poll. According to University of Northern Florida, Biden beats Trump by 5 points, with 48% of Florida respondents saying they would choose Biden, 43% saying they would choose Trump. Warren beats with a 3-point margin over Trump. 46% say they would pick Warren, and 43% say they will pick Trump. How many people noticed something about this poll? I think some of you do because some of you are fans of Bernie Sanders. Well, he's not included in the poll. No, because see, when they said they looked at some of the leaders, they didn't count Bernie as a leader in the Democratic primary race. Get what I'm saying about the lies of omission? Now, I know you wonder, you're like, how could they not consider Bernie a leader when he's winning in some polls and he's second in other polls, and maybe one other poll he might be third according to that poll, that sample size of the 500 people they talked to, or whatever crazy number, but he's the one who ran in 2016 and won 22 states. He's the one with over 1 million donors. He's the one who set records with the number of donors. How could he not be considered a leader even when he statistically, nationally is a leader? Well, Johnson, it's all up to the people doing the poll. That's why. They decided they want to mix it up a bit. Here they go making an explanation of why they did it this way. As I stated, the University of Northern Florida Public Opinion Research Laboratory did the actual polling. All Hill did was run it. The polling data found that the Public Opinion Research Lab asked several questions about potential vote choices if the general election was held today between Trump and some of the leading candidates in the Democratic primary. See, some of the leading candidates in the Democratic primary. So they're saying, hey, we didn't say that Bernie's not a leader. We just didn't choose to cover him. That's all right. We don't have to choose to cover all of the leaders, just some of the leaders. But the thing that was most troubling about this article, guys, is though they say they didn't choose to cover Bernie Sanders and they only want to cover some of the leaders in the Democratic primary, they did choose to cover Buttigieg and Kamala Harris, both polling significantly lower than Bernie Sanders. So let's cut to the chase a little bit, guys. So they covered 4 people out of 20 people. They went Biden, Elizabeth, if that's the order in which you want to go. Biden, Elizabeth, jump over Bernie, Pete, Harris. Get it? Or you can say Elizabeth Biden over Bernie, Pete, Harris. I'm even wondering if that's the Harris part is right. So, like, this made people majorly upset, right? Because they're looking at this poll, they're going, what the hell is going on? Why did you skip over Bernie? This makes no sense. Who conducted this poll and what's the rationale for skipping Bernie? I mean, some would argue you could go Bernie, Elizabeth, Biden. But that's neither here nor there because they didn't cover him at all. So, here goes the author of the poll, Mike Bender. Here's his explanation for why he didn't include Bernie Sanders. He said, we opted for the top 2. We then wanted to see how candidates with different trajectories and diversity would fare versus real Donald Trump in a general election. Hence, including Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris, if it were a primary poll, obviously, we would have had all 19 candidates. So let me get this right, guys. Mike Bender says, hey, we wanted people with different trajectories and diversity. How can you make a claim that Pete Buttigieg is diversity in any way? Unless you're talking about his sexual orientation. I guess that's what you mean, right? Is that what you mean? You're not talking about his actual coalition because he's got the whitest group of voters of any demographic in this race. Probably next to Amy Klobuchar. or at least in the top 6. So his voting block is not diverse at all. And for that matter, neither is Elizabeth Warren's, really. I mean, not on a national scale. So what he says doesn't hold water at all, guys. So I was looking at an article from FP Politics, and it dissects this pretty well. It says, check this out. In response to the criticism that the public opinion, whatever, PORL, Florida, whatever, these guys with this opinion poll, what's the name of this organization? It's a real long name. Oh, Public Opinion Research Lab, okay? PORL. Let's just call them PORL. Or scumbags. But let's go with PORL for now, because we're going to let them explain themselves a little bit further. They say, as with all polls, it's a balance between number of questions and length of survey. I made a call to include the top 2 candidates and then 2 others that may provide some interest to the public and are in potentially different positions. Buttigieg is rising and Harris has stalled. I think the value of the data is that they are all pretty darn close in the head-to-head. We only polled Biden and Warren versus Pence, again leaning on the top 2 as the cut point. If you're concerned that Sanders is left out by that rationale, any poll that leaves out Bennett, Booker, or Steyer in a series of head-to-heads is just as problematic. Obviously, this wasn't a Democratic primary poll. We'd be conducting one of those in South Carolina in a couple of weeks, and we will include all active Dem candidates. So his idea or his explanation for why he didn't include Bernie is based on he wanted interesting candidates. And to him, Bernie's not interesting. Nah, it's not interesting that Bernie Sanders just came off of having a heart attack. No, it's not interesting that Bernie just got a major endorsement from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar. No, it's not interesting that he just held the biggest, largest rally of the election season. No, it's not interesting that he just scored. He has the biggest war chest, the most amount of money stashed away, and has the most donors, who contribute with small dollar donations. All of these great, monumental, very interesting facts for us. But to these guys, not interesting at all. It's more interesting that we got a cop who's been on a downward spiral for the last 2 months, ever since running into a buzzsaw called Tulsi Gabbard. And it's more interesting that we have Pete Buttigieg, who has went from being, hey, I'm a progressive too, to being, hey, I got a lot of GOP talking points I like to use. I found a new lane, Johnson. And that's my whole point about how insidious, how underhanded the media can be. And the average person has no time to look this stuff up. The average person has no time to chase it down, run it through the loop to find out what's going on. In fact, our old buddy Nate Silvers, according to this, because I don't read Nate Silver, but according to this, it says, Nate Silver points out Buttigieg's rise in Iowa isn't really a rise. He's been polling around 13% in Iowa for some time, and his national numbers are mostly flat. Which brings us to another conclusion, or another thing we want to examine. When they keep telling us how well a candidate is doing, like Pete Buttigieg, for instance, I say his name different ways, don't I? They keep telling us how great Pete's doing in Iowa, but he's not doing so great everywhere else. It seems like he's only doing okay in Iowa. I mean, he's flat everywhere else, according to Nate Silver. I mean, I know Nate got the election wrong and tends to bash Bernie for no reason just to get followers on Twitter. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's wrong about Pete. He goes on to say, Harris has stalled. Her numbers have plummeted since the second Democratic debate, which I pointed out. Sanders is a great example of a client, of a candidate whose polls have pretty much stayed the same. So the whole point, guys, is that you can't trust the media to tell you the truth anymore, especially when it comes to polls. You have to know what the polling data consists of, who did the poll, what they're leaving out. And if you're just a person who's busy and all you had time really to do is read the titles, you will be misled totally. And the thing about being misled is not just, it's not just that people have different opinions or the editorial direction of the newspaper. It's that people are influenced by the media that they consume. And if you are a regular person who's not on guard, who's not wearing your aluminum hat, your, telepathy-resistant goggles, and some type of barrier to keep the lies from penetrating your skull, you may begin to believe some of the stuff that you're reading. You may come away thinking, hey, the only way to beat Trump is to go with Elizabeth Warren. And you'd be mistaken because she's not beating Trump. Or you may think, let me give more money to Biden. Maybe that'll help him do better in Florida. When in actuality, there's somebody already beating him in Florida. His name is Bernie Sanders. And see, that's the whole point, guys. They're misleading us, and it's not because they don't know the data. It's not because the information is not available. Remember, it's these guys' jobs. This is what they do all day. You do whatever you do all day for a living. This is all they do. And for some reason, they can't seem to do it right. So at some point, you got to say, hey, everything can't be a mistake. Yeah. At some point, you say, hey, you got four kids with 3 different babies' mamas, or you got 4 kids and 4 different babies' daddies. You can't keep saying it was a mistake. At some point, you got to admit you lay down and you had a little loving. We can't keep saying we don't know how these things work. And the same thing goes for our media. They can't keep pretending that this is just, negligence or incompetence. How about just plain old sneaky, underhanded snake oil seller? Check this out. There's a young lady here on Twitter who says this. Her name is Ellie the leftist. She says, I work for the lab that ran this poll. When I asked our director why Bernie wasn't included, saying that he's a top 3 candidate, I was told, not for long. This man thinks it's more likely for a Republican Senate to remove Trump than Bernie to stay strong in the polls. Booyah. Shout out to Ellie the leftist for blowing a whistle on this garbage. Look, guys. So look, when I started this show tonight, I told you it was important for you to pay attention because some of us are, emotionally connected to this race at this point. And I understand it. I'm connected to it as well. I'm watching it closely. But you have to take with a grain of salt. Anything. I do mean anything you read from corporate media. And hey, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Sometimes you got to take with a grain of salt what you get from independent media too. I think it's only fair for people to say, you know what, I support this candidate and I'm biased towards him. I think it's only fair to do it, Johnson, because it's not right to gaslight people. There's been a lot of people who have been saying a lot of inflammatory things and reporting half-truths, not keeping it 100, however you want to describe it. And that is causing other people who read and consume this stuff to lose their minds, to stay up at night twiddling their thumbs, playing fidgety sticks, or to drink heavily, or to smoke some cannabis. The smoking cannabis part is probably okay. But you get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, guys, is we can't let this stuff take a toll on us. We are being gaslighted on a daily basis. They're doing it intentionally. You heard the young lady say she works at the place where they did the poll of everything I just covered, And the guy's, his explanation for not including Bernie is he just doesn't believe in Bernie. I could present fact after fact after fact that are irrefutable. It's based on numbers, not his feelings. And still, since he has the editorial control over what the polling would be, he just omitted Bernie out of the blue like, we don't have to put him in. Now, I don't know if we want to blame the Hill for it. Did the Hill do the due diligence? I don't know. I think the quality of a poll resides with the people conducting the poll. But it is kind of obvious. You got to ask the question like, hey, where's Bernie? He's not some obscure candidate that you don't know is running. I mean, hell, you could make the case like, where's Yang? Where's Tulsi Gabbard? Where's Steyer? I mean, but come on, man. Not the Steyer part. No one's asking where's Steyer. I mean, we start looking at bases of followers. And that's another thing. This guy tried to say that part of it, Binder, his name is Binder, right? He tried to say part of it was he wanted the intrigue of having, including Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg. Well, if you're really looking for intrigue, and if that was the case, and if it wasn't to slap Bernie in the face, you'd have to include Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. I mean, they got bigger online followings than Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg. It's like a no-brainer. So it's not even, hey, we're chasing news cycle, guys. Because a lot of times we discount this stuff. We say, hey, these people are just chasing the news cycle. They're just looking to make money. Not always the case. In this particular North Florida University poll, it's not about making money. Guy just doesn't like Bernie. That's it. That's all. It's even worse than making money. All right. Jesus. And look, this also leads me to something else that I've been working on. Now we know that with the new introduction of my Johnson go-to, my Johnson catchphrase that I've been using a lot, people have been responding to it. Last Friday I did a call-in show, my Freedom Friday show, and people were calling me Johnson. Had somebody on Twitter said, hey, my dog's responding to Johnson. Around my house, I call my wife Johnson. She calls me Johnson. We call the kids Johnson. Everything is Johnson because we are Johnson. Well, I came up with a new design, guys. Check this out. By popular demand, Johnson is here. I have new Johnson designs in my shop. If you want to pick them up, check them out. They are hilarious. They are revolutionary. And they're all Johnson. You're going to love them, man. Check them out. Both parties suck, Johnson. It's one of my favorites. Independent media only, Johnson. Keep it real. We are all Johnson. We are. We're one big community, guys. Go check it out. Independent media only. Johnson's in the house. Both parties suck, Johnson. We are here. They got a special going on right now. Free shipping. Get it today. Wolfpack. I had fun putting that together today. But seriously, there's free shipping until Friday for your Johnson and other Wolfpack garments from the Tim Black Gear Shop. You can find that on YouTube. I got a link somewhere. You can type in Tim Black Gear Shop. You'll know when you get there because it'll have all my gear in it. All right. Let's keep it moving, guys. So media's horrific bias. We covered that. I think people are pretty clear on what they're dealing with when it comes to the polling. And the bad thing about it is we gotta use polls at some point. But we always have to remind people that we really can't count on them too much. I mean, we shouldn't. Not if we got any brains. They're just unreliable. And as you hear from our whistleblower, I mean, the person running the lab would just be like, hey, I feel this way, so we're not going to include something. And in our minds, we'll kind of like put the pieces together and not really have a clear view. So we talked about the Hill poll, which really wasn't the Hill poll because they didn't conduct the poll. Another thing. So, okay, we've been hearing all this talk about Facebook and about social media and about the Russians. Guys, I want you to know in 2020, there will be a lot of money spent on Facebook ads. I was astonished by an article I read. An article that I read that shows just how much money will be spent on Facebook. And not projections. Let's talk about how much money has been spent on Facebook. Let's do that. Let's start with Joe Biden. Joe Biden spent by page on ads about social issues, elections, or politics. This is between May 2018 and October 2019. $2.7 million on ads, guys. That's how much your boy Joe Biden spent. And I'm starting with Joe Biden because he spent the least. He recently spent just in the last, 7 days, almost $75,000. Not to be outdone, Elizabeth Warren. Total spent by page on ads about social issues, May 2018 through October 19th, $4.5 million. Yeah. Recently spent on page ads in the last 7 days, $250,000. A lot more than Joe Biden, but she's got a lot more money to spend. Joe Biden's not raising money like Joe Biden needs to raise money. Especially when you consider he doesn't have any buzz in the streets. And then we have Bernie Sanders. Since May, Bernie spent $4.1 million on Facebook? But the last 7 days, a modest amount of $80,000 right there with Biden. So as you can see, Elizabeth Warren is spending 3 times as much money on Facebook ads as Bernie and Joe Biden. Now get ready, guys, because this is the big kicker right here. Donald Trump, in the last year, see, he never stopped campaigning. He spent $21 million on Facebook ads. Now, this is not just Trump, I'm sure. This includes money from the RNC. And in the last 7 days, $262,000. That's a lot of guap. Popular demand, Johnson is here. That's crazy. All right, so in an article by Nick Corasanti, that's his name, Nick Corasanti, we want to talk a little bit about the digital campaigns, right? So one of the things that's happening now with Zuckerberg is saying that Facebook won't be policing their ads, their political ads. I mean, they're not going to be trying to decide if your ads are true or if your ads are false, because people call them biased either way they go. So what they're going to do is let you run whatever you want to run. That's why this is important, guys. Donald Trump or Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris or anybody can run ads that are not necessarily true. As long as they got the money to spend on the ad revenue to put in, Facebook's going to let them run it. So to a large extent, based on Nick Corasanti and the New York Times, based on their reporting, it looks like a lot of this election may be decided online, on social media, on Facebook. So when people say that Elizabeth Warren is rising in the polls, I think it's in large measure due to how much money she's spending on Facebook. That's what I know she talks about all the selfies. She leaves out the $250,000 in the last week that she spent on Facebook. It's not as impressive to say, hey, guys, I've been running a lot of Facebook ads. Oh, God, my wrist is hurting from all the Facebook ads. No, it's better to say I took 70,000 selfies. Instead of I spent $250,000 interrupting you on Facebook. That is folksy, right? That is endearing, is what's really going on with the campaign. That's really how she's been getting it done. Not the selfies, dog. But that's all corporate media's been talking about, Johnson, is all the selfies she's taking. Yeah. So one of the things Elizabeth did, because, Elizabeth's been the one beefing, and it's kind of strange because Warren has been the one who's been at odds with Facebook the most, and she's the one using it the most. She's the one talking about, I need to break up the tech companies. And she's the one getting the most benefit out of using Facebook. It just seems like something that somebody who's not someone very disingenuous would do, Oh, I'm tired of you drinking all the wine. You're a wino. You drink wine all the time, Tim Black. You and your bald head and your shot glasses. Just drinking and drinking. You're becoming an alcoholic is what you're doing. Get out of here and get to the AA meeting right away. You're misleading people. Oh, fiddly sticks, darn it. Jumping jacks, pinto beans, and taco salad. Get him out of here. As soon as I walk out the room, what? Just going to have a little nightcap. Looking at me for? I hardly ever do this. Oh, that's good. That's good. Whole point of the matter is, it's one of those people that don't like when you do something, complain about it, but then they're a consumer of it. That's Elizabeth Warren. She complains about Facebook, but she uses the hell out of Facebook. And I got to tell you, now I'm not saying I believe all the polls, but if she's climbing in the polls, it looks like a lot of it has to do with her Facebook ads. That's all I'm saying. So for a person who complains about Facebook having way too much power, why are you using so much of it? Yeah, go traditional. Do traditional ads. What, the selfie's not killing it for you? So, the truth is, it's true. Trump is outflanking the Democrats, but this will be where the battle will be won. It will be won there. Now, according to a lot of those polls, as I stated earlier, in that media that we love so much, according to them, Mayor Pete Buttigieg is really killing it. In fact, I did a story last night about Pete. I talked about Pete, how much I trust Pete, how Pete would not defend a fellow armed services, a fellow veteran, a fellow vet in Tulsi Gabbard. He wouldn't defend her against his girl. His mama, Hillary Clinton. The person who was wound him up and got him to run, or whatever she is, the person who's been grooming him over the last decade or so. Mayor Pete's got a problem, though. He's not doing so good with the blacks. Yeah, I know. I think it's becoming a problem, not just for Pete, but it's becoming a problem for the people that report on it. They make it seem like, the blacks don't like Pete just because he likes guys. Yeah, it's getting pretty bad, guys. There's an article I was reading. It was also in the New York Times. It said a little discussed reason for the disconnected surface of the disconnect between Pete and black voters surfaced on Tuesday in an internal campaign memo that was written by a consultant to the campaign. It said Mr. Buttigieg's sexual orientation was a significant obstacle in the African-American community, particularly those voters in South Carolina, an early primary state where black voters make up a majority of the Democratic primary electorate. They said they had 3 focus groups. They and of undecided black voters, and they said that being gay was a barrier for these voters, particularly for the men who seemed deeply uncomfortable even discussing it. So let's cut to the chase on this real quick, guys. People in the South are more conservative. A lot of people may not know this, but a lot of black folks, a lot of black families, particularly older black families, are more conservative. A lot of black folks are also more religious or more Christian-oriented. This is not new information. Now, considering the fact that black folks have had to survive in the United States as slaves for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 generations, if you count the earliest arrivals, or prisoners, or captives. Well, they were given a Bible and they were told, it's your job to be a slave and treat your master well, and your reward will come in the afterlife where you won't be a slave. But this is what you're here to do on this life, to serve white guys and white women too. So the relationship between black folks and Christianity, because we were stripped of our own religion, was wrapped up in that book that was given us. And to those black folks, it was handed down over generation that if you just got closer to Jesus, it all makes sense. If you just got closer to Jesus, he would make it all right. So I find it very disingenuous of not only the guy conducting the interview, but average corny white dudes and white women who don't understand why black folks are so conservative or why they are so religious. For 8, 9 generations, it's all they had. That's it. What do you expect? Now, South Carolina is more of a conservative state. Don't they go red regularly? So what do you expect? Hey, there are a lot of reasons why Mayor Pete might not do well. That's true. But all of them are not based on his orientation. No one knows him. What about that being a factor? I wonder how much does that weigh in? Some of the voters that they leave out, if you get further in the article, they leave out that some of the black folks who said they weren't so confident about Mayor Pete was because they said he was too flamboyant with his relationship or with his orientation. And that they thought there's no way that he will beat Trump being openly gay because a lot of conservative white folks are going to vote for Trump just because of Pete. That part is left out of the article. Well, left out the beginning of the article. It's towards the end, like stuck at the conclusion. So, hey, look, there are a lot of reasons why people may not like Mayor Pete. We talk about them on this channel. I've never talked about them in the lens of his orientation. Though I did find it kind of weird that Mayor Pete got more coverage than Jane Sanders. I'm sorry. I do find it weird that Mayor Pete's husband, Chasten, got more coverage than Jane Sanders, who's actually the wife of Bernie Sanders, who won 22 states last election. Why so much coverage of Chasten? Doesn't make sense to me, but I'm sure you guys will explain it to me at some point. But the reasons why people might not like Mayor Pete, like I said, are varied. It's not just one thing. Not to mention, there's this little thing called Joe Biden in South Carolina as well. Where's my South Carolina? I can't find it. Well, anyway, South Carolina polls. I can't find my South Carolina poll, guys. Well, I will tell you this, guys. This is what I can tell you from memory about South Carolina. Joe Biden's killing it. He was up like 20 points in South Carolina. That's not just from one poll. I know one poll I looked at was Real Clear Politics, but there are also a number of other polls that see it the same way. Though there hasn't been any new polling data in quite some time done for South Carolina. It's the Hill article from these scumbags who reported here in the Northern Florida University reported. They're going to come up with a new polling for South Carolina. So some of it is the fact that people know who Joe Biden is. A lot of name recognition is what Joe Biden has. And familiarity of him being with the first black president. That matters. I just see a trouble spot where it's going to be a lot of to do about Pete's orientation of why people are not voting for him. You know, only like 38% or 37% of white folks voted for Hillary. Yeah, that's right. Only like 38% of white folks in America voted for Hillary. You do realize that, right? Oh, you didn't know that? It's interesting. Yeah, less than 40% of white folks voted for Hillary. The reason why it was so close is because 85% of black folks voted for Hillary. But for some reason, this unknown guy whose name we can't even pronounce, who happens to be a gay veteran with no war stories of saving any lives. I guess if Pete had a better backstory, if people knew about him and he did some things that stood out in a positive way. But all black people know about him is what we see in the news when we do see it, and it's never positive. Save a kitten from a tree, or, I don't know, hang out with some black folks. Go cut an album. At least Bill Clinton was hanging out with black people. He went on Arsenio. He played the sax. Yes, I found it degrading. I found it underhanded, but it worked. Isn't that what Hillary said when she was questioned about her hot sauce on the Breakfast Club? Is it working? Because that's all they cared about. But Pete shows no real track record of doing anything. And then I guess now it's going to be, well, all black people are homophobic because they don't like Pete. Well, are black people, don't they have the ability to make their own choices about who they want to vote for? Obviously not. Obviously not. Well, my last story for the night, I think is interesting. It's about whistleblowers. And this is something that is a big deal, guys, because people have been harping on this issue. Because Bernie made a statement that about Julian Assange, it wasn't favorable. And at this point, I don't remember what he said, but I think the crux of it was, I don't think he agreed that he would, excuse or drop the charges, expunge charges on Julian Assange. I think that's what it was, right? Because I think I've been hearing people saying, I don't like Bernie's response on Assange. I don't like Bernie's response on Assange. So I don't know when that actual interview took place, but I take people on their word that there was something that at some point Bernie was asked about Assange and he had a negative reaction. He didn't say that he would drop all charges against Julian Assange if he became president. So check this out, guys. This I do have. Now, this is from The Intercept, from Ryan Grimm. Bernie Sanders pledges to end practice of prosecuting whistleblowers under the Espionage Act. Woo! Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal, guys. Now, Ryan Grimm was told this right there. He was in New York at the Bernie Sanders rally. He interviewed Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders after the rally, and that's where Bernie made the announcement. Now, this century-old law had largely gone out of fashion until it was deployed heavily by Obama. They prosecuted 8 people accused of leaking to the media under the Espionage Act, more than all previous presidents combined. Donald Trump is on pace to break Obama's record, something no one talks about. It's like when people, too often I hear folks say, yeah, well, Trump's not as bad as Obama, or Trump's not as bad. Well, when Trump is doing things such as prosecuting whistleblowers, I know it makes you feel good to say, hey, it's not so bad, we got Trump in there. But now when he's doing the same crap we've been trying to get out of Washington. Like, we were trying to drain the swamp, he brought the swamp in. People were against Obama about the whistleblowers prosecution, and here goes Trump in doing the same thing. Though he talked favorably and loved to talk about WikiLeaks, oh, WikiLeaks, what does he do when he gets in power? See, it's not going to be tidy. It's not going to be the way you want it to be. It's not going to be nice. Oh, don't be so nice. It's going to be underhanded, Johnson. That's what he's doing. So as I stated, Trump is on a pace to break Obama's record if he gets the second term. He's already prosecuted 8 whistleblowers, 5 of them using the Espionage Act, according to the Press Freedom Tracker. Asked if it's appropriate to prosecute whistleblowers using the Espionage Act, Sanders said, of course not. Like, where are everybody reporting? Why are people reporting on this? You know why I'm not reporting on it? I'm on 3 hours sleep. I'm just now getting to it tonight. But why aren't my critics of Bernie, why aren't they reporting on this? Why aren't they reporting that he said, of course not, that he wants to end prosecutions of whistleblowers? This is kind of a big deal. And if you harped on Bernie saying, not speaking favorably about Julian Assange, why aren't you now coming around and saying, well, he did say this? I mean, we don't just get to report the stuff we like, right? We don't just report the things that help our candidate, right? We report the other stuff too. So if you can hit Bernie for a Julian Assange comment that you think is against Julian Assange and praise your candidate for a positive Julian Assange comment, why not also praise Bernie for a positive anti-whistleblower prosecution comment? And I just see this is one of the differences. You don't have to be my candidate for me to give you props. Doesn't have to be my candidate for me to acknowledge your stance. I don't know. The Espionage Act was passed back in 1917 to suppress opposition to World War I. That was the whole point of it. Now considers leakers to effectively be spies. Makes a fair trial impossible. As relevant evidence is classified and kept from the defense, and the bar for conviction is low. And this is like one of the reasons why I said what Hillary Clinton making these allegations about Tulsi Gabbard without any proof was so damaging, because it like destroys somebody in the world's eye, in the public eye, in the court of public opinion. You should be able to make comments about someone being a spy. I mean, if you're saying someone is a Russian asset, an asset's a spy, right? And I did say yesterday that I thought that Tulsi Gabbard should sue Hillary Clinton for her disparaging allegations, right, with no evidence. And then I realized something. Now, it's been a long time ago, man. When I was like right out of high school, I took some courses, paralegal courses, right? I'm trying to remember, but isn't it true that in order to sue, you gotta show damages? So I may be wrong about Tulsi Gabbard being able to sue Hillary, because I don't think she's been damaged by Hillary making these allegations, though they be wild, obnoxious, and historically stupid and unfounded. That the stuff of movies and fantasies, right, of fantastical, mythical, smoke too much something, right? But I think at the end of the day, it helps Tulsi Gabbard. So if you fundraise off of the lie, and I'm hoping you did, and also you get a bump in the polls off of the lie, which I hope you did, then I guess you don't really have grounds to. In fact, I wish people would talk bad about me if I got a bump out of it. I'd be like, please talk more. Say more stuff. Bash me some more. I'm a witch and I practice witchcraft. Go ahead, go with it. Run with that. Go, go, go. Make it happen. I crap golden eggs. Yeah, that's what I do. I can fly too, Johnson. Look, I can fly. I can dunk like Michael Jordan. Yeah, I can sing like Peebo Bryson. All the millennials going, who the hell is Peebo Bryson? I can sing like Drake. Oh, okay. I should have picked somebody better, right? I can sing like Anthony Hamilton. Anyway, all right, guys. That's all I got. I love you. My name is Real Tim Black. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Tim Black at Night on Instagram. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Don't forget, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. Also give via Super Chat. We're going to keep it going. Saturday and Sunday, I'll be at Politicon, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to be live streaming on my way up to the event. I'm going to be live streaming while I'm at the event when I can. And I'm going to be recording a lot of footage because I want you to know what's going on. And hopefully I get an opportunity to talk to some people I've only been able to talk to online. I really like to ask Dr. Jason Johnson, why does he keep bashing Bernie like that? What's bug crawled up his ass, man? Really want to have that conversation. Wouldn't that be amazing to ask Zelina Maxwell, hey, Zelina, and Mimi Rocha, because Mimi Rocha's going to be there. Hey, Mimi, Bernie's still icky? How icky is Hillary? Not icky at all, is she? Hillary no icky, right? She not icky. Grown-ass woman, classified human being. How can you be nearly 50 and your best explanation for why candidates shouldn't be president is they make me feel icky? Don't tell me you're a feminist if you're going to set women back 50 years. All right, guys, let me go to Super Chat and see if anybody had anything I need to read on the air. Doesn't make sense, man. All right. Antonio T is a new member. What's up, Antonio? How you feeling? Patrick Maloney, communism will win. But first, you must feel the burn. Feel the burn. I love it, man. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the Super Chat. Sean Graham said, truth is hard to find. So when you find it, be sure to drop a few bucks in the Super Chat. Thank you, Sean. I'm telling you, man. I'm on a thin. I'm riding on fumes, man. I wanted to bring that story to you. I hope I did a decent job. I know I'm dragging. I don't feel as pumped, you know. But I drank as much coffee before the show trying to keep up. But thank you, my friend. Caves of Chaos said, would you consider voting for Mayor Pete if he actually stood for something? Just kidding. He's owned body and soul to corporate masters. He's a Wall Street darling, isn't he? That dude, him and Cory Booker, Wall Street dudes, right? And Big Pharma. I didn't even know about the Big Pharma until recently. David Sirota knocked that one out the park. There's an article about it as well. Giovanna Liviana, Warren is a progressive opportunist. Not a modern progressive. Witness her behavior in 2016. Bernie or bust and never Warren. You had me at hello. Sean's sitting here again. You're killing it, Johnson. The new designs are hot. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Look, the Johnson thing has really taken off. I love it. I think it's fun. I think it resonates with people. And more than that, my fans, my people that support the show love it. People ask me to make the designs. Like, people have been telling me in the comment sections, but there have been a couple people who have actually taken time and emailed me and said, Tim, I was at your store. You know what would have been cool, Johnson? Is if you put a couple of T-shirts with Johnson on them in your store, Johnson. And I was like, you know what? You got a good hit on your shoulders, Johnson. I'm going to get right on it, Johnson. So it makes sense. Fred the Felon. What does Fred the Felon have to say, man? And look, I don't got no problems with it, man. My cousin's a felon, and I love the hell out of him. He said, Yang 2020. I hear you, man. Yang mentioned me on the debate stage. What? What? You're a star. You are a star, man. Fred the Felon was mentioned on the Yang debate stage. That's what's up, man. How do you feel about that? I had an opportunity to interview Andrew Yang. It was really cool that he came through the Tim Black Show. So far, Andrew Yang and Marianne Williamson. I still want to interview Bernie Sanders. I vote the damn bill. Vote the bill. I want Bernie Sanders and, I would even interview Cory Booker. Listen, hey, when I was the mayor of Newark, I believed. Now, this is a problem. I'm having deja vu. Deja vu. Because we're doing it again. When we go after one another, instead of going after Donald Trump. We just gotta have more love. We gotta have more love. And we gotta have more love. Love. We had more peace and love. And if we Cory, what's wrong, man? The people that don't like you more because you do that shit. Oh, love. Nobody wants their president walking around crying. It's gotta have more love. Love. God. Listen. Look, when I was the mayor of Newark, I cried all the time. And people liked it. I went to Stanford. I played on the football team. My girlfriend, you won't believe it. It was going to be Mindy from The Office. But then I got really lucky, and I got Rosario. Yes, I've heard her popularity and her reputation and her ears when I talk. But Fred says the polls are trash. Yang 2020. And Jimmy says, I'm bi and a heathen. Jimmy said, I'm bi and I'm a heathen. Buttigieg being gay does not faze me one way or another. It's his policies to which I object. I hear you. I'm the same way. Look, if I thought Pete was going to save America and not just save himself a lot of money, I would support him, man. Look, understand this. I like Bernie's policies more than I like Bernie. I never met Bernie. There are people, I love Bernie. I love Bernie too because of what he stands for, what he's about. He sees being for those things. My feelings about Bernie will change because I don't know him. Now, I got to love my brother, my cousin, my mama, my aunt, my dad, I got to love these people, my kids, But I don't have to love people I've never met. Once they start doing things I don't agree with, I don't have to love them. So if I thought Pete was going to go in there and actually get things done for me, I'd roll with him. I don't care. I wouldn't care who he slept with. As long as they were adults. Right? All right. Fred the Felon, Peter's terrible. Yes, he is. Fred the Felon. Yang mentioned a lonely trucker like me and our friendship on the debate stage. That was you, brother. That was you. Dude, when he told his story, I don't think he mentioned you as well. And that was one of the things that impressed me, was that he got down with regular folks. And regular folks had input on some of the philosophies and some of the ideas he has that he wants to bring to the public. So that was important to me, okay? And Truckers for Yang, hashtag Truckers for Yang. I was in the New York Times because of it. Yang 2020, hashtag truckers for Yang. Fred also says, hashtag Yang 2020, Yang Gang and truckers for Yang. I hear you, man. Hey, look. I hope to have Andrew Yang back on the show at some point. He's kind of busy climbing in the polls. But once again, those polls are strange. You don't know exactly where anybody is in the polls. How do you know, right? I know he's passing up Kamala. How'd that happen? I don't know. All right, guys, I'm going overtime. Sorry about that. I love you. I'll see you soon. Please check the YouTube channel. Check out the videos I put out. Actually, those videos are the ones that they run ads on. So please watch a couple of my videos. That would be great. That would help the channel. All right, guys. And I think that'll do it. I'll see you on the next one. And here goes that ad again. By popular demand, Johnson is here. I have new Johnson designs in my shop. If you want to pick them up, check them out. They are hilarious. They are revolutionary. And they're all Johnson. You're going to love them, man. Check them out. Both parties suck, Johnson. It's one of my favorites. Independent media only, Johnson. Keep it real. We are all Johnson. We are. We're one big community, guys. Go check it out. Independent media only. Johnson's in the house. Both parties suck, Johnson. We are here. They got a special going on right now. Free shipping. Get it today. Wolfpack.